Hello, it's me, Jurgunza. Today's movie that I saw in theaters was Disclosure Day. Disclosure Day is not written by him, but is directed by Steven Spielberg. Now, Disclosure Day follows a man named Daniel who works for the government. He comes across some secrets, and these secrets are something that a good majority of people, himself included, feel as if the government should have no right to say that the world can't know about this. And that secret is aliens and the existence of them. That is what the trailer shows, and that is what I'm going to leave it at. I'm not going to spoil anything. I might mention some things on as far as like what the notes the movie hits. So as I said, he comes across these secrets and he's trying to reveal it to the world. Hence the name Disclosure Day. However, there is a group of people who are not actually even official government officials. They don't want this information going out because their biggest fear is that the world is not going to be able to handle this type of information and confirmation that extraterrestrial beings exist outside of Earth. I think it needs to be said very clear that this movie is not a simple, straight-up action and adventure film. Yes, there are some action sequence and suspense things going on. This movie is more of an emotional adventure film, if that makes sense. This movie has a lot of conversation going on, and that is the strongest part of this movie. The conversation of belief, the idea of hope and faith and what you have your faith into, and how something such as this can tumble some people down, probably make them go insane. And that is the biggest fear in this movie, is that if this information gets out, the world could possibly collapse because we cannot handle such information. And then you have the other side of people who feel as if that is not our decision to make for the world. It is the right thing to tell them the truth and let them know what's going on. Now, what I said is still very vague about what this movie, what it covers on. Because I'll tell you what, I went in thinking that it was going to go a certain type of way, and thinking that, oh, we're about to have a crazy last third act, because Steven Spielberg said none of the third act is he didn't want it in none of the trailers. He wanted you to watch the third act simply for what it was in the movie itself, right? So I'm thinking like it's going to be an epic, crazy third act. I think some of you might be disappointed. I don't mean that in a way to where like it's a bad third act. I actually thought it was an amazing third act. Now, the more I think about it, at first I was like, this is not what I was expecting. I don't know how to feel, But the whole time, I'm deeply and emotionally embedded into what's going on. I won't say it brought a tear, but it put a lump in my throat. It makes you look at things that we do as human race, and it makes you think about if we're good people. It was a very kind of uncomfortable, gut-punching third act, and I wasn't expecting that in the way that I got it. Like I said, its main, strongest point is the course of conversation of what we're discussing. There is a person who delivers a line in here, and I love it so much because it's like such a deep-cut statement that they said. They basically said, you didn't lose your faith in God, you lost your faith in people. That is the type of movie we're watching right here. I think given 10, 15 years down the line from after this movie is out, it's going to be one of those films that slowly keeps getting appreciated more and more, like how Minority Report was, Also Steven Spielberg. I think given time that this movie will be looked back on and be known as possibly one of the greatest talks and conversations of extraterrestrial films to have been made. With that being said, I give this movie, I was going to give it a 3.7 out of 5, but the more I think about this movie, it's been like at least 2 hours since I've seen this movie. The more I think about this movie and what they were talking about, the more I appreciate it even more, because they could have easily just gave us a crazy full-blown action adventure film. Steven Spielberg can do it, right? And I mean just bonkers action, right? With no emotion. Instead, they took their time. They mellowed out why these people, the government officials, who are not really government officials, they fleshed out very well why they don't want this information coming out in the way to where it's like, I can't blame them. I really can't blame them when they put it like that. They make a lot of sense. We as human beings make a lot of reckless decisions. But on the other hand, when you see what they're hiding and what's going on and what they've kept from us, it's a bit rough to say that we're not allowed to know that. I'm babbling on too much. It's been your boy Jerk Gunza. Disclosure Day, 4 out of 5. Go see it. If you don't want to see it, okay then.